What's going on, Genius Nation? Welcome to the Daily Genius. I am Dr. Will, and as always, super excited that you are here joining with us wherever you are in the world. I hope that your day is starting off magnificent and you are ready to crush the day. For those of you that are watching this outside of our private Facebook group, when I talk about Genius Nation, that's who I'm talking to. I'm talking to more than 1,000 individuals that are committed to becoming a better version of themselves and creating a life that they love. If that sounds like you and you want to get tips, tools, and strategies to assist you in becoming a better version of yourself and creating a life that you love, there is a link in the description to join Genius Nation. It's a free private Facebook group where we just want to support each other, cheer each other on, and push each other to the top. If that sounds like you, once again, we would be excited for you to join us. Well, this is episode 139. We're on a mission to show up every single day for 365 days to provide you with a live video. So this is episode 139, and I'm super excited as always for those of you who join us live, for those of you who come back and watch the replay. I'm always appreciative of that. So on Wednesdays, what I like to do is talk to you about thinking bigger, right? And I like to profile somebody for you or share with you someone that has taken risks, someone that has built something, someone that has created a life they love. But today I want to talk to you about the regret of playing small. I want to talk to you about the regret of playing small. You know, there's two important numbers. There's two important numbers in our life. It's the number, the date that we were born, and the date that we're going to die. And in between that, you have a little dash. And that dash represents your life. That dash represents your life. And when I'm working with my clients, one of the things I always ask them is, what do you want to do with your dash? And you guys have heard me say it before. If we're blessed, if we're fortunate, you know, you get somewhere between 75, 80 years on this planet. Anything above that is really icing on the cake. And so when you think about your dash from the date that you're born to the day that you die, what do you want that dash to be? What do you want it to represent? And here's the thing. No one knows that end number. No one knows that ending date. No one knows when life is going to be over for them. So that means we got to maximize our dash. And one of the ways you can maximize your dash is not playing small. It's not playing small. And so I want you to really start thinking about it. I really want you to start thinking about it. Like, what do you want your mark to be? What do you want your mark to be on this world? And I want to make it even more personal. Not just this world, your family, your community, your environment. If we just started right there with our family, what's the impact that you want to make with your family? How do you want to change the narrative? How do you want to add to the narrative, right? What is it that you want? You know, when I think about myself and my narrative, you know, I'm named after my father, and then I named my son after both of us. And in my mind, I have this picture of this progression. And so I have the narrative of where my father started. I have my narrative, but then my son will have his narrative. And in my mind, I want him to be able to continue a prosperous narrative. And so when I think about that bloodline, right, that Moreland name, for me, I wanted the Moreland name to mean something, right? I wanted the Moreland name to have an imprint on this world. And so that's what I think about a lot in my dash. You know, for some of us, if you came from similar situations like I did, not being very advantaged, hardships and things like that. You have the power to turn that around. You have the power to turn um, that narrative around. My daughter, she texts me this morning, and she says, "Hey, Dad, I'm meeting with a young lady, today, and she's a high school dropout, um, comes from a very challenged family. What do you think some of the things I should share with her?" And I said, the first thing you got to ask this young lady is, where does she see herself in 5 years? This was a question that was asked to me when I was 19 years old that totally transformed my life. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And we talked about this the other day about having vision and the importance of having a vision, because that's where it all starts. You got to start getting a framework, or you got to start getting an idea that life is not going to always be like it is right now. And so I shared with my daughter, let her know she has to get a vision for her life. Where does she see herself at 23? And then once you get that vision, you got to come up with a plan. You got to come up with a plan. Who do I need to be? Who do I need to become so I could evolve into who I see in 5 years? Who do I need to become? What things do I need to do? And so that's my question for you, right? So you won't live a life of regret. I want you to start thinking about what's the win for you? What's the Super Bowl for you? If you could plan it out, and you're on your last day, you're on that bed, and it's coming towards your last day, and you can look back and you can say, you know what? I did something with my dash. I did something with my dash. What would need to happen if 5 years from now, the person you want to be, what do you need to do today? What do you need to do today to start becoming that person so you can evolve into that person in 5 years? What are you going to do? Because I was reading an article some time ago, and it talked about the 5 biggest regrets that people have on their deathbed. And one of those regrets was playing too small, not going after it, not creating your best life, and not understanding, we my new book I've been sharing with you for the last couple of days, Living from Your Core, right? And it's really about what's really meaningful to you. And we talk about this on the Daily Genius, right? Creating a life that you love, what's really meaningful to you. And as I was reading this article on it's called Deathbed Regrets. You can probably Google it and it'll come up. But Deathbed Regrets, the biggest one was the individual said they played too small. Number 2 was they didn't invest enough time with the people they say they love. That's a part of core, right? Relationships. And so when you think about that, you're on your deathbed, and you want to make sure that Paul said it like this. He says, I've run my race. I've run my race. I've run my race. And he says, I know that there's a crown of righteousness waiting for me, because he ran his race. So what does it look like to run your race? So when you come time to the end of your race, you can say, I played full out. You can say, I did everything that I was supposed to do. I did everything that I was supposed to do. That's what I call a significant life. That's what I call a successful life. So I want you guys to think about that. I want you to think about that. That dash, the day you're born, the day you're going to die, that little dash in the middle, that represents your life. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? And before we get out of here, like my new book, it'll help you get some clarity. That's what the C in core is about. So you can create this life, because this is what this is about, creating a life. Like with the 80 years that you're going to get on this planet, make it your life. I always ask my clients, Whose life are you living? Whose idea are you living? And this book will help you get some clarity around that. So here's the site where you can go, drwillspeaks.com/core. This book will give you some insight into creating your best life. All right, guys, as I always tell you, go out there, be your brilliant, amazing, genius self. I tell you always to make someone else smile and laugh as you're making yourself smile and laugh, and go out there and dominate. All right, have an amazing day. I'll see you right back here tomorrow for the Daily Genius. Have a good one, guys.